The story of Earth's formation begins in a vast, swirling cloud of gas and dust, known as a solar nebula, floating in the young Milky Way galaxy. This nebula was the remnant of a massive star that had lived and died in a spectacular supernova, scattering elements across space. Under the force of gravity, parts of this nebula began to collapse in on themselves, forming a spinning disk of material. At the center of this disk, immense pressure and heat ignited the birth of our sun, a glowing beacon around which everything else would revolve. Surrounding the nascent sun, the remaining material in the disk began to coalesce. Tiny particles of dust clumped together through a process called accretion, sticking to one another and gradually forming larger and larger bodies. Over time, these bodies became planetesimals, small, rocky, or icy objects that are the building blocks of planets. In the region where Earth now resides, the conditions favored rocky materials over ices, setting the stage for the creation of terrestrial planets like Earth. As these planetesimals collided and merged, their combined gravitational pull attracted even more material, growing larger with each impact. These collisions released immense amounts of energy, keeping the young Earth in a molten state. Heavy elements like iron and nickel sank toward the center, forming Earth's core, while lighter materials rose to create the mantle and crust. This differentiation of layers was a critical step in shaping the planet's structure and eventual geological activity. During this chaotic period, Earth was constantly bombarded by asteroids and comets, a process known as the Late Heavy Bombardment. These impacts not only contributed to the planet's growth, but also delivered essential volatile compounds, including water, which would later form the oceans. The surface of the planet was a hellish environment, with molten lava seas, erupting volcanoes, and a toxic atmosphere dominated by carbon dioxide, methane, and ammonia. Despite this violent beginning, these processes laid the foundation for a stable, dynamic planet. Earth's formation is not just a story of destruction, but also of creation, a testament to the intricate and interconnected forces that shaped the world we now call home. A massive collision created the Moon, stabilizing Earth's orbit. Around 4.5 billion years ago, not long after Earth had formed, the young planet was still in a molten and unstable state. It shared the early solar system with countless other planetesimals and protoplanets, large rocky bodies also in the process of formation. One of these protoplanets, roughly the size of Mars, is theorized to have crossed paths with Earth in a monumental collision. This celestial body has been named Theia, after a titan from Greek mythology. The impact between Earth and Theia was catastrophic, releasing an extraordinary amount of energy. The collision vaporized a significant portion of Theia and a substantial chunk of Earth's outer layers, hurling immense amounts of debris into space. This material formed a thick ring of molten rock, gas, and dust orbiting Earth. Over time, the gravitational forces within this ring caused the debris to coalesce and solidify, eventually giving birth to our Moon. This giant impact hypothesis is supported by several key observations. For instance, rocks brought back from the Moon by the Apollo missions reveal that its composition is remarkably similar to Earth's crust, suggesting a shared origin. Furthermore, the Moon lacks a significant iron core, consistent with the idea that it formed mostly from the lighter, outer layers of Earth and Theia. The formation of the Moon was a pivotal event in Earth's history. Its gravitational influence helped stabilize Earth's axial tilt, which is crucial for maintaining relatively consistent seasons over long periods. Without the Moon, Earth's tilt could vary wildly due to gravitational interactions with other planets, leading to extreme climate changes that might have hindered the development of life. Additionally, the Moon's gravitational pull created tides in Earth's oceans. These tides played a key role in the evolution of life by fostering dynamic environments in coastal areas, where the constant ebb and flow of water provided unique opportunities for organisms to adapt and thrive. The Moon's presence also slowed Earth's rotation over time, lengthening the day from just a few hours to the 24-hour cycle we experience today. In many ways, the Moon has been Earth's silent partner in shaping the planet's environment. Its creation from the chaos of a massive collision not only transformed the Earth, but also set the stage for the stable, life-supporting conditions we know today. Earth's molten surface cooled, forming the first crust and oceans. In the aftermath of its fiery formation, Earth was a seething, molten sphere. The intense heat from the energy of countless collisions and the decay of radioactive materials kept the young planet in a liquid state. The surface of Earth was dominated by vast seas of lava, continuously churning and reshaped by powerful volcanic activity. The atmosphere, thick and hostile, was a mix of gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor, nitrogen, and traces of methane and ammonia. There was no breathable oxygen, no protective ozone layer, and certainly no life as we know it. However, over time, as the rate of impact slowed and the planet began to radiate heat into space, Earth's surface started to cool. This cooling allowed the molten material to solidify, forming the planet's first crust. This early crust was thin and fragile, frequently disrupted by volcanic eruptions and impacts from the remaining debris in the solar system. It was not a stable surface, but rather a patchwork of forming and reforming land masses. At the same time, Earth's cooling atmosphere played a crucial role in shaping its future. As temperatures dropped, water vapor in the atmosphere began to condense. This process marked the first rains on Earth, massive, planet-wide deluges that fell for thousands of years. These rains collected in low-lying areas, forming the planet's first oceans. While the exact timing of this event remains debated, it is believed that oceans began forming as early as 4.4 billion years ago, shortly after Earth's formation. The presence of water was transformative. Not only did it shape the surface through erosion and sedimentation, but it also created a stable environment that would later become the cradle of life. Scientists believe that much of Earth's water may have come from a combination of sources: volcanic outgassing from the planet's interior and the impact of icy comets and asteroids during the late heavy bombardment period. Earth's crust, though primitive, began to differentiate into two types: the heavier basaltic crust that would form the ocean floors and the lighter granitic crust that would eventually give rise to continents. This differentiation was driven by convection currents within the mantle, fueled by the residual heat from Earth's formation. These processes laid the groundwork for plate tectonics, which would later become a driving force in shaping the planet's surface. The combination of a solidifying crust and the formation of oceans created a more stable environment. This stability was crucial for the eventual development of life, as it provided the physical and chemical conditions necessary for the complex interactions that life requires. In this early stage, Earth was no longer a fiery inferno, but a world transitioning into a more hospitable and dynamic planet. Life began 3.8 billion years ago with single-celled organisms in the oceans. As Earth cooled and stabilized, its surface transformed into a more hospitable environment, and its oceans became a vast cradle for the first forms of life. Around 3.8 billion years ago, the stage was set for an extraordinary event: the emergence of life. Although the exact mechanisms by which life arose remain a subject of scientific inquiry, several theories suggest how the basic building blocks of life came together in Earth's ancient oceans. The early oceans were rich with chemical compounds, including carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and sulfur, derived from volcanic outgassing and extraterrestrial sources like comets. These elements, combined with energy from lightning, ultraviolet radiation, and geothermal heat, created an environment where complex organic molecules could form. Experiments, such as the famous Miller-Urey experiment in 1953, have demonstrated that under conditions mimicking early Earth, simple organic compounds like amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, can arise spontaneously. In shallow, warm waters, deep-sea hydrothermal vents, or perhaps even beneath ice-covered surfaces, these organic molecules began to assemble into more complex structures. These structures eventually formed protocells, simple, membrane-bound vesicles capable of isolating chemical reactions from their surroundings. Within these protocells, molecules like RNA, which can store genetic information and catalyze chemical reactions, may have played a key role in driving the first self-replicating systems. This was the dawn of life, a transition from mere chemistry to biology. The first life forms were incredibly simple, single-celled microorganisms known as prokaryotes. These organisms lacked a nucleus and other organelles, but possessed the essential machinery for metabolism and reproduction. They thrived in Earth's oceans, which served as a protective environment against the harsh ultraviolet radiation bombarding the planet, as Earth's atmosphere at that time lacked a protective ozone layer. These early organisms relied on chemical processes, such as chemosynthesis, to extract energy from inorganic compounds. For billions of years, life remained microscopic and simple, yet it had a profound impact on the planet. Over time, these microorganisms diversified, adapting to a range of environments, from shallow waters to deep-sea vents. The emergence of life marked a turning point in Earth's history. What had been a planet of barren rocks and sterile oceans began to transform into a world teeming with potential. These single-celled pioneers set the foundation for the vast web of biodiversity that would eventually flourish on Earth. Even in their simplicity, they were a monumental step forward, a glimpse of the incredible complexity and resilience that life would achieve in the billions of years to come. Photosynthesis by cyanobacteria introduced oxygen into the atmosphere. Approximately 2.4 billion years ago, a transformative event occurred that would forever change the course of Earth's history: the Great Oxidation Event (GOE). This monumental shift was driven by the emergence of a remarkable group of microorganisms known as cyanobacteria, often referred to as blue-green algae. These simple, single-celled organisms developed a groundbreaking metabolic process, photosynthesis. This process not only provided them with energy, but also introduced oxygen as a byproduct, reshaping the planet's atmosphere and paving the way for more complex life. Before the GOE, Earth's atmosphere was primarily composed of gases like methane, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and water vapor. Free oxygen, O2, was virtually absent, and the planet was dominated by anaerobic life forms that thrived in environments without oxygen. Cyanobacteria, thriving in Earth's early oceans, began harnessing sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into energy, releasing oxygen in the process. This was the first time a biological process had directly influenced the planet's chemistry on such a grand scale. At first, the oxygen produced by cyanobacteria did not accumulate in the atmosphere. Instead, it reacted with dissolved iron in the oceans, leading to the formation of massive deposits of iron oxide, which settled on the seafloor. These deposits, known today as banded iron formations, are some of the most significant geological records of this period. It wasn't until the iron in the oceans was largely depleted that oxygen began to build up in the water and eventually escape into the atmosphere. The gradual increase in atmospheric oxygen marked the beginning of the Great Oxidation Event, a process that unfolded over millions of years. For many existing anaerobic organisms, this influx of oxygen was catastrophic, as they were not equipped to survive in its presence. This led to what some scientists call the first mass extinction on Earth, where many anaerobic species were driven to extinction or forced to adapt to oxygen-free environments. However, for other forms of life, oxygen opened up entirely new possibilities. The introduction of oxygen into the atmosphere had profound and far-reaching consequences. Oxygen is highly reactive and played a critical role in the transformation of Earth's environment. It led to the formation of the ozone layer, which provided protection from harmful ultraviolet radiation, allowing life to expand into shallower waters and, eventually, onto land. It also enabled the development of aerobic respiration, a far more efficient way of producing energy compared to anaerobic processes. This efficiency laid the groundwork for the evolution of multicellular organisms. The Great Oxidation Event also influenced Earth's climate. The reduction of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, combined with the cooling effects of increased oxygen, may have contributed to the first snowball Earth episodes, periods of global glaciation. These events would have further shaped the trajectory of life and the planet itself. The oxygen revolution was a turning point in Earth's history, driven by some of the smallest and simplest forms of life. Cyanobacteria not only altered the chemistry of the planet, but also set the stage for the rich complexity of life that would follow. Their legacy endures in the air we breathe today and in the evolutionary pathways they made possible. Multicellular life emerged about 600 million years ago. For billions of years, life on Earth was dominated by single-celled organisms, which thrived in diverse environments and adapted to a range of ecological niches. However, around 600 million years ago, a revolutionary step in evolution occurred: the rise of multicellular life. This transition marked a profound shift in the history of life on Earth, laying the groundwork for the incredible complexity and diversity of organisms that we see today. The leap from single-celled to multicellular life was not a sudden event, but a gradual process that likely began with colonial organisms. These were groups of single-celled organisms that lived together in close association, possibly for mutual benefit. Over time, these colonies became more integrated, with individual cells beginning to specialize in different functions. This specialization allowed for greater efficiency and adaptability, as cells could divide tasks such as feeding, movement, and reproduction among themselves. Eventually, these specialized colonies evolved into fully multicellular organisms with cells that were permanently connected and dependent on one another. The emergence of multicellular life was facilitated by several critical evolutionary innovations. One key development was the ability of cells to communicate and coordinate their activities through chemical signals. Another was the evolution of mechanisms for cellular adhesion, which allowed cells to stick together and form stable structures. These advancements were accompanied by the evolution of gene regulatory networks, which enabled the differentiation of cells into various types with distinct roles. These innovations allowed multicellular organisms to grow larger, develop complex body plans, and occupy ecological niches that were inaccessible to single-celled life. The rise of multicellular life is closely associated with the Ediacaran period, which spanned from approximately 635 to 541 million years ago. During this time, the first large and complex multicellular organisms began to appear in the fossil record. These Ediacaran biota, as they are known, included a variety of enigmatic and soft-bodied organisms, some of which resembled modern-day jellyfish, worms, and fronds. While many of these early forms of multicellular life went extinct, they represent a crucial step in the evolutionary history of life, demonstrating the potential of multicellularity to create complex and diverse life forms. The evolution of multicellularity also had profound implications for ecosystems. Multicellular organisms could grow larger and develop protective structures, giving them an advantage over single-cell competitors. Their size and complexity allowed them to exploit new ecological niches, such as grazing on microbial mats or filtering particles from water. Additionally, the development of multicellular predators introduced new evolutionary pressures, driving the evolution of defensive adaptations and setting the stage for an evolutionary arms race. The rise of multicellular life is thought to have been influenced by changes in Earth's environment, including increases in oxygen levels during the Proterozoic Eon. Higher oxygen concentrations made it possible for larger and more complex organisms to survive, as they could support the energy demands of multicellular bodies. This period of increased oxygen availability likely acted as a catalyst, enabling the rapid diversification of multicellular life that followed. Although the Ediacaran period marked the first appearance of multicellular organisms, it was just the beginning. The stage was set for the Cambrian explosion, a period of unprecedented evolutionary innovation that would give rise to the ancestors of most modern animal groups. The emergence of multicellularity represents one of the most significant evolutionary milestones in Earth's history, a testament to life's ability to adapt and innovate in response to changing conditions. The Cambrian explosion brought a rapid diversification of life. Around 541 million years ago, Earth entered a period of extraordinary evolutionary innovation, known as the Cambrian explosion. This event, which lasted for approximately 20 to 25 million years, marked a turning point in the history of life on Earth. During this relatively brief period in geological terms, life underwent a dramatic transformation, with the emergence of nearly all major animal groups and the development of complex ecosystems. The Cambrian explosion represents one of the most significant moments in the evolution of life, giving rise to the ancestors of nearly all modern animals. Before the Cambrian explosion, life was predominantly simple and consisted of single-celled organisms, colonies, and soft-bodied multicellular organisms. The preceding Ediacaran period saw the rise of some multicellular life forms, but these organisms were generally small, lacked hard parts, and were limited in their diversity. The Cambrian period, however, introduced an incredible variety of life forms with vastly different body plans, behaviors, and ecological roles. A key feature of the Cambrian explosion was the evolution of hard body parts, such as shells, exoskeletons, and spines. These structures provided protection from predators, supported more complex body structures, and allowed for new modes of locomotion. The fossil record from this time is remarkably rich, as these hard parts were more likely to be preserved than the soft tissues of earlier organisms. Iconic fossils like trilobites, Anomalocaris, and Opabinia showcase the diversity and complexity of Cambrian life. The Cambrian explosion also saw the development of bilateral symmetry, a body plan in which organisms have a head and tail end, as well as distinct left and right sides. This symmetry allowed for more efficient movement and the development of specialized sensory organs, enabling animals to better navigate and interact with their environments. Many of the major animal phyla, including arthropods, mollusks, annelids, and chordates, first appeared or diversified during this time. Several factors likely contributed to the rapid diversification of life during the Cambrian explosion. One key factor was the increase in oxygen levels in Earth's atmosphere and oceans, which supported higher metabolic rates and allowed for the evolution of larger and more active organisms. The development of complex food webs, driven by the appearance of predators and prey, introduced new selective pressures and drove evolutionary innovation. Additionally, changes in Earth's geology and climate, such as the breakup of supercontinents and the formation of shallow seas, created diverse habitats that fostered adaptation and diversification. The Cambrian explosion also marked the emergence of more complex behaviors, such as burrowing, swimming, and predation. These behaviors reshaped ecosystems, leading to new ecological interactions and niches. The evolution of eyes and other sensory systems during this time gave organisms an unprecedented ability to perceive and respond to their environment, further accelerating the pace of evolution. While the Cambrian explosion may seem like a sudden event, it was the result of billions of years of gradual evolutionary changes that laid the groundwork for this burst of diversity. Genetic innovations, such as the development of regulatory genes and pathways, provided the flexibility needed to create new body plans and adaptations. These evolutionary tools allowed life to take full advantage of the environmental opportunities and challenges presented during the Cambrian period. The legacy of the Cambrian explosion is profound. It established the basic body plans and ecological roles that have persisted throughout the history of life on Earth. Nearly every major animal group can trace its origins back to this remarkable period, making the Cambrian explosion a cornerstone in understanding the evolution of biodiversity on our planet. Plants and animals colonized land around 500 to 400 million years ago. The colonization of land represents one of the most transformative events in Earth's history. For billions of years, life had been confined to the oceans, where water provided support, nutrients, and protection from harsh ultraviolet radiation. However, around 500 to 400 million years ago, life made its first tentative steps onto land. This transition required groundbreaking evolutionary adaptations and opened up an entirely new frontier, reshaping the planet's ecosystems and paving the way for the incredible biodiversity we see today. The first organisms to colonize land were likely microbial mats composed of bacteria, fungi, and algae. These simple, photosynthetic organisms played a crucial role in preparing terrestrial environments for more complex life forms. By stabilizing soils, contributing organic matter, and influencing nutrient cycles, these pioneers created the conditions necessary for plants and animals to thrive. Fossil evidence suggests that microbial mats existed on land as far back as 1.2 billion years ago, but it wasn't until much later that multicellular plants began their invasion of terrestrial environments. Plants were among the first multicellular organisms to establish a foothold on land, with their origins tracing back to green algae living in shallow, freshwater environments. These ancestral plants, which appeared during the Ordovician period, roughly 470 million years ago, developed key adaptations that enabled them to survive and reproduce outside of water. The evolution of structures like a waxy cuticle helped plants retain moisture, while specialized cells, known as stomata, allowed them to exchange gases with the atmosphere. By the Silurian period, about 420 million years ago, early vascular plants such as Cooksonia had emerged, featuring internal systems for transporting water and nutrients. These plants radically transformed Earth's surface. By stabilizing soils and producing oxygen through photosynthesis, they created conditions that allowed other life forms to follow. Their root systems broke down rocks, contributing to the formation of soil, while their decaying organic matter enriched the land with nutrients. As plants diversified, they began to form dense vegetation, creating habitats that could support terrestrial animals. The first animals to venture onto land were arthropods, such as millipedes, scorpions, and early insects. Fossil evidence suggests that these creatures began exploring terrestrial environments during the Silurian period, likely in search of food, such as decaying organic matter or microbial mats. Arthropods were well suited for life on land due to their hard exoskeletons, which prevented water loss and provided structural support in the absence of buoyant water. They also evolved adaptations like jointed legs, which allowed them to navigate uneven terrain. Following arthropods, vertebrates made their way onto land during the Devonian period, approximately 375 million years ago. These early land vertebrates, known as tetrapods, were descendants of lobe-finned fish. Transitional fossils, such as Tiktaalik, show how these animals gradually adapted to terrestrial life by developing sturdy, limb-like fins capable of supporting their weight on land. The evolution of lungs and modifications to the skeletal system allowed tetrapods to breathe air and move more effectively on solid ground. The colonization of land was not without challenges. Organisms had to contend with the risks of desiccation, the effects of gravity, and the need for new methods of reproduction. Plants evolved spores and later seeds, which could survive dry conditions and be dispersed over long distances. Animals developed mechanisms like waterproof eggs and, eventually, internal fertilization to ensure successful reproduction in terrestrial environments. The colonization of land had profound ecological and geological impacts. Plants significantly altered the planet's carbon cycle, drawing down atmospheric carbon dioxide and contributing to the cooling of the climate. Their roots and decaying matter accelerated the weathering of rocks, leading to the release of nutrients that fueled further growth and diversity. As terrestrial ecosystems expanded, they created new niches and opportunities for life to evolve in remarkable ways. The move from water to land was a monumental achievement in the history of life. It set the stage for the emergence of forests, terrestrial food webs, and the complex interactions between plants and animals that define ecosystems to this day. The colonization of land was a pivotal chapter in Earth's story, demonstrating life's extraordinary ability to adapt to new environments and challenges. Dinosaurs dominated Earth for over 160 million years during the Mesozoic era. The Mesozoic era, often called the Age of Dinosaurs, spanned approximately 252 to 66 million years ago and was a period of dramatic change and flourishing life on Earth. This era, which is divided into the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods, saw dinosaurs rise to prominence, diversify into an astonishing array of species, and dominate the planet's terrestrial ecosystems for over 160 million years. Their reign reshaped Earth's landscapes and ecosystems in ways that would leave an indelible mark on the history of life. Dinosaurs first appeared during the late Triassic period, around 230 million years ago, in the aftermath of the Permian-Triassic extinction event, the most severe mass extinction in Earth's history. This event wiped out nearly 90% of all species, leaving ecological niches open for new groups to evolve and thrive. The earliest dinosaurs were relatively small, bipedal creatures, such as Eoraptor and Herosaurus. These early species were likely agile hunters or omnivores, competing with other reptiles and early mammals for resources. By the Jurassic period, dinosaurs had diversified into a wide range of forms, filling nearly every terrestrial niche. Some evolved into enormous herbivores like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus, which roamed vast plains and consumed massive quantities of vegetation. Others became fearsome predators, such as the iconic Allosaurus, using sharp teeth and claws to hunt prey. Dinosaurs also developed remarkable adaptations, including specialized teeth, powerful limbs, and advanced respiratory systems, enabling them to thrive in a variety of environments. The Mesozoic era was also a time of significant geological and climatic changes that shaped the evolution of dinosaurs. The supercontinent Pangaea, which had formed earlier, began to break apart during the Jurassic period, creating new coastlines, seas, and isolated landmasses. This fragmentation promoted speciation, as populations became geographically separated and adapted to different environments. The warm, stable climate of the Mesozoic supported lush vegetation, providing abundant food for herbivorous dinosaurs and, indirectly, their predators. Dinosaurs were not confined to land. Some groups evolved adaptations for other environments. Pterosaurs, though not technically dinosaurs, dominated the skies, ranging from small, bird-like species to massive creatures like Quetzalcoatlus with wingspans rivaling small airplanes. In the oceans, marine reptiles such as ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs ruled the seas, preying on fish and other aquatic life. These groups demonstrated the adaptability and evolutionary ingenuity of reptiles during the Mesozoic era. By the late Cretaceous period, dinosaurs had reached their peak diversity. Iconic species such as Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops, and Velociraptor roamed the land, while flowering plants began to dominate terrestrial ecosystems. This period also saw the emergence of birds, which evolved from small, feathered theropod dinosaurs. Archaeopteryx, often considered a transitional species, showcased the evolutionary link between dinosaurs and modern birds, highlighting the adaptability of this group. Dinosaurs were integral to the ecosystems of the Mesozoic, influencing plant life, shaping landscapes through their movements, and interacting in complex food webs. Their dominance and success were due in part to their diverse body plans, efficient locomotion, and the ability to thrive in a range of habitats. They also exhibited fascinating behaviors, such as nesting, parental care, and social structures, as evidenced by fossilized nests and trackways. The age of dinosaurs came to an abrupt end 66 million years ago, when a massive asteroid impact near the Yucatan Peninsula triggered the Cretaceous Paleogene (KPG) extinction event. This catastrophic event, coupled with volcanic activity and climatic changes, led to the extinction of nearly all dinosaur species, except for their avian descendants, the birds. Although their reign ended millions of years ago, dinosaurs remain one of the most studied and celebrated groups in paleontology. Their fossils provide invaluable insights into evolution, extinction, and the dynamic history of Earth's ecosystems. The age of dinosaurs was a time of unparalleled biological innovation and dominance, shaping the trajectory of life on Earth in ways that continue to echo through the ages. The evolution of humans led to the development of complex societies and transformative changes to Earth's ecosystems. The evolution of humans, particularly from early hominins to modern Homo sapiens, is one of the most remarkable chapters in the history of life on Earth. Over the past several million years, humans have undergone significant physiological, cognitive, and cultural changes that have allowed them to dominate nearly every corner of the planet. From small groups of hunter-gatherers to complex civilizations, the journey of human evolution has had profound and lasting effects on Earth's ecosystems and the environment. The emergence of early hominins, such as Australopithecus and Homo erectus, marked the beginning of a gradual process of adaptation to diverse environments. These early human ancestors developed traits such as bipedalism, larger brains, and sophisticated tool use, which allowed them to exploit new resources and adapt to different ecological niches. The ability to create and use tools was instrumental in the transition from a primarily foraging lifestyle to one that involved hunting, gathering, and eventually agriculture. One of the most transformative phases in human evolution came with the development of agriculture, which began around 10,000 years ago during the Neolithic Revolution. This period marked a significant shift from a nomadic, hunter-gatherer lifestyle to settled communities, where humans began to domesticate plants and animals for food production. The ability to cultivate crops and raise livestock led to population growth, the establishment of permanent settlements, and the rise of complex societies. However, this transition also had profound impacts on the environment. Early agricultural practices often involved deforestation, soil erosion, and the alteration of ecosystems to suit human needs. The clearing of forests to create agricultural land disrupted natural habitats, reducing biodiversity and leading to the extinction of many plant and animal species. Irrigation for farming altered river systems, leading to water management challenges and environmental degradation in some regions. With the advent of cities and complex societies, human influence on the environment intensified. Industrialization, beginning around the 18th century, brought unprecedented technological advancements that allowed humans to harness resources on an even larger scale. Fossil fuels powered machinery, factories, and transportation, leading to rapid urbanization and the expansion of agriculture to support growing populations. However, this rapid development led to increased pollution, deforestation, and greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to climate change and the destruction of ecosystems. Throughout history, humans have continuously adapted to their environment, creating new tools, systems, and strategies to exploit resources. Advances in science, technology, and engineering have enabled the development of cities, transportation networks, and industries, all of which have reshaped the natural world. However, these changes have also come with environmental costs, such as habitat fragmentation, loss of biodiversity, and global ecological imbalances. Modern humans are now facing significant challenges posed by their own impact on Earth's ecosystems. Issues such as climate change, overpopulation, resource depletion, and pollution require urgent attention and sustainable solutions. The ability to reflect on the long-term consequences of human activities has spurred movements toward conservation, sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, and environmental stewardship. In addition to environmental effects, human evolution has also been deeply entwined with cultural and societal changes. The development of language, art, social structures, and complex governance systems has allowed humans to thrive in diverse environments, creating rich and interconnected global communities. These advancements have not only shaped human civilization, but have also influenced the planet's ecological systems in ways that are still unfolding. Ultimately, human evolution has been a double-edged sword. While it has enabled incredible technological and social progress, it has also led to significant environmental challenges that require thoughtful management and adaptation. As we move forward, understanding the impact of our evolutionary journey will be crucial in fostering a more sustainable relationship with the Earth. Human evolution has left an indelible mark on the planet, influencing not only the environment, but also shaping the development of ecosystems, biodiversity, and the very fabric of life on Earth. The continued growth of human populations, along with advances in technology and industry, has accelerated the transformation of landscapes, leading to the degradation of natural habitats and the loss of species at unprecedented rates. One of the most pressing challenges stemming from human evolution is the rapid pace of environmental change. Climate change, driven by human activities such as the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial emissions, has disrupted global weather patterns, altered ecosystems, and endangered countless species. Rising global temperatures have led to the melting of polar ice caps, the expansion of deserts, and more frequent and severe natural disasters like hurricanes, wildfires, and droughts. These changes threaten not only biodiversity, but also the livelihoods of countless human communities, particularly those dependent on natural resources for survival. Moreover, the fragmentation of natural habitats, driven by urban development and agricultural expansion, has isolated wildlife populations, reducing genetic diversity and making them more vulnerable to extinction. Habitat loss is one of the leading causes of the sixth mass extinction event currently underway, as countless species face increasing pressures to adapt or perish. From rainforests to coral reefs, the ecosystems that once supported a vast array of life are now under threat, and the intricate relationships between plants, animals, and microbes are being disrupted. In addition to environmental degradation, human evolution has also spurred the need for sustainable resource management. As populations continue to grow, the demand for food, water, energy, and raw materials has placed immense pressure on finite natural resources. Unsustainable agricultural practices, overfishing, deforestation, and the exploitation of minerals and fossil fuels have strained the planet's capacity to replenish and sustain itself. Efforts to shift towards more sustainable practices, such as renewable energy, conservation, and the circular economy, are now at the forefront of environmental policies around the world. Another significant consequence of human evolution is the transformation of landscapes through infrastructure development. Cities, transportation systems, and industrial zones have reshaped vast portions of Earth's surface, creating urban heat islands, increasing pollution, and displacing native species. The construction of roads, buildings, and dams often disrupts natural ecosystems, making it difficult for species to move, breed, and thrive. These changes require thoughtful urban planning and environmental consideration to balance human progress with the health of the planet. However, despite these challenges, human evolution has also fostered innovative solutions to environmental issues. From the development of renewable energy technologies like solar, wind, and geothermal power, to advancements in sustainable agriculture and conservation biology, humans have the capacity to work in harmony with nature. Organizations, governments, and individuals are coming together to address the root causes of environmental degradation, driven by a deeper understanding of ecological systems and the importance of preserving biodiversity. Furthermore, ethical considerations surrounding human evolution and its impact on Earth have sparked discussions on environmental stewardship and responsibility. Climate activism, indigenous conservation practices, and movements advocating for sustainable development are shaping global conversations on how humanity can mitigate its ecological footprint while ensuring a prosperous future for the planet. The evolution of humans has undeniably transformed Earth's ecosystems and continues to do so at an ever-accelerating pace. As we look to the future, it is essential to recognize the interconnectedness of humanity and nature. By fostering a more sustainable relationship with the Earth, humans can ensure that the lessons of evolution guide us towards a path of coexistence, resilience, and respect for the planet's delicate balance.